1911 and classic 45 ACP. Goes through the rounds quick. What about 9mm? Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today we have another video about one of my favorite subjects, the 1911. If you guys have been following my channel for any period of time, you know that I love the 1911 platform. It's probably my favorite style of pistol. And today we are not only comparing two different chamberings, the 45 ACP and the 9mm, because 1911s are chambered in both of those, but also two specific 1911s, the Springfield TRP in 45 ACP and the Springfield Ronin in 9mm. But before we get started, I just want to thank everyone that has subscribed to the channel. I appreciate it. So I don't think anyone will argue that the 1911 was designed for the 45 ACP chambering. This is a Springfield TRP operator and it's perfect in 45. So while 45 might be what the 1911 was designed for, this Springfield Ronin in 9mm begs to differ. And 9mm is becoming more and more popular in the 1911 platform. So as I said in the intro, the 1911, I absolutely love the 1911. It's one of the easiest pistols to shoot. They just feel really good. John Moses Browning did an incredible job designing this pistol over 100 years ago. The grip angle is as natural as a grip angle can be in a pistol, in my opinion. The all-steel construction just soaks up recoil. The single-action trigger just makes it so easy to be accurate. And especially with a 5-inch government model like this, you have a nice long sight radius, which helps in the accuracy department as well. So I absolutely adore 1911s. But like many of you probably, I've always felt like the 1911 was a 45. That's the classical chambering. The 1911 was actually designed around the 45 automatic Colt pistol cartridge, which is this right here. It's a big, fat, slow round, but it carries a ton of energy and it has stopping power if you're a believer in such things. The 45 ACP has been around forever, but whether you know it or not, the 9mm has actually been around even longer. And 1911s, while classically chambered in 45, they actually sell more 9mm models these days than 45. And while my first 1911 was a 45, it was a Springfield mil-spec, I got spoiled shooting this TRP here, because it has all the modern upgrades that shooters have come to expect in a high quality 1911. such as the extended beaver tail, the memory bump on your grip safety, you know, the longer trigger pull, better sights, things like that. And so it was time to upgrade, and this is what I got, was the Springfield Ronin. And this is chambered in 9mm. They do make this in 45, but my local gun shop had it in 9, and I convinced myself that I was okay with that, and I'm glad I did. I really love this pistol. But let's talk about the differences first between a 1911 chambered in 45 versus 9mm. Now, this pistol was designed for the 45 caliber cartridge. All of the dimensions of it are designed for feeding and ejecting the 45 ACP. And so it runs very well in 45 ACP. It's taken years to design 9mm 1911s that run as accurately. And even this one, you'll see from some of the footage today, had a few hiccups. And when I first got it, it actually took quite a break-in period before it started running reliably at all. But it is getting better and better. And at this point, it runs through most magazines without an issue. Every once in a while, I still am getting failures to eject, and it is what it is. I think it just needs a bit of a break-in. The Springfield TRP in 45 has the stopping power, but very low round capacity, and you definitely feel the extra recoil. So while the recoil is very manageable with 45 when you're shooting a big steel 1911, in 9mm, the lack of recoil just makes it a joy to shoot. If you haven't noticed, I'm getting a new roof put on right now. That's what that racket is. So I apologize for that. But anyway, the 1911 shoots 45 ACP very well. Mainly because it's a big, heavy, all-steel pistol. And so the added recoil of the 45 ACP is very manageable in a gun of this size. But the really cool thing about 9mm 1911s is that you still have all those benefits of an all-steel pistol, the bigger size, the extra weight, but you're shooting a cartridge that doesn't produce as much recoil. And so shooting a 9mm in something this size really just is a pleasure to shoot, because there is so little recoil that your sights are back on target almost immediately after every shot. And it really just feels like a little push instead of a big jolt every time that you pull the trigger, which is very nice. Other benefits of the 9mm in a 1911 are your round capacity. So in this, the TRP, you get 7 rounds in a magazine. Now you can buy extended magazines that'll get 8 rounds, but generally you're looking at 7+1 capacity. Whereas the standard magazine for this Ronin here in 9mm is 10 rounds, so you get 10+1. So 3 extra rounds. It might not sound like much, but it actually makes a big difference. You end up not having to reload quite as often, and you just get more shots on target quicker. Capacity is a big deal. As much as I love, and I do love the 1911, my biggest gripe about it has always been capacity. And nowhere is that more obvious than when you're shooting 45 and you only get 7 rounds in the mag. But it makes for lots of opportunities to practice reloads. And with a 9mm 1911, It doesn't have the capacity of the Wonder 9s, the polymer frame double stacks that are common today. But still, with 10 plus 1, you do get quite a few more rounds than a 7 plus 1 45. I really enjoy shooting both of these pistols, but there is a very big difference in the recoil impulse in both of them. And I gotta say, the 9mm is definitely more pleasurable to shoot than the 45. But let's take a look at these guns up close. So besides the obvious comparings in the chambering of these two pistols today, we're gonna actually compare the two pistols themselves because they're both fantastic 1911s, especially for the price that you get them at. Now, you guys have seen both of these guns on this channel before. This is the Springfield Armory TRP, and this belongs to a close friend of mine, Micah. Thank you, Micah, for letting me borrow this for another video. It is chambered in 45 ACP, has a 7 plus 1 round capacity, and this is, as far as Springfield 1911s go, it's a very expensive gun. It's about $1,400, but it literally has everything that you want in a modern 1911. Forward slide serrations, which make it nice and easy to manipulate that slide from the front or the back. It's got a stainless steel frame, stainless steel slide, and a stainless steel match grade barrel, as well as a skeletonized trigger, skeletonized hammer, the extended beaver tail with the memory bump on your grip safety, and it has an ambidextrous thumb safety. It also has these G10 grips, which are very aggressive, and 20 lines per inch checkering on the mainspring housing, as well as the front strap. Another thing that this one has that the Ronin does not is this flared magazine well, which really does aid in fast reloads, which is something that when you have a 7 plus 1 round capacity, you're going to be doing very often. So being able to reload quick and easy is a nice thing. It also has night sights with tritium in them, which is another plus that this one does not, although this Ronin does have very good sights in its own right, and we'll go over those in just a minute. But this Springfield TRP is a very nice pistol, and for a 45, it really does shoot very well. It also has a 2-piece full-length guide rod, which the Ronin does not. So let's take a look at the Ronin now. This one is in 9mm, not 45. And before I bought this, I was a little concerned about buying a 1911 in 9mm. I felt like classically the 1911 was a 45 caliber gun, and my previous 1911 was a 45 caliber gun. But the 9mm chambering in this is very nice to shoot, and it does give you 10 rounds in the magazine instead of 7, which is really nice. As you see, it does not have that mag well, but I haven't found that it's difficult to reload with this gun whatsoever. It also doesn't have an ambidextrous thumb safety. And I am left-handed, but I shoot right-handed, so that hasn't been an issue for me whatsoever. Other than that, it really does have all of the same features that you get on this one. Instead of G10 grips, it's got these very nice wood grips that are checkered and smooth with the Springfield Armory Cross Cannons logo. It has the 20 lines per inch checkering on the mainspring housing, but it does not on the front strap of the grip. Instead, it's bead blasted on the rounds on both the frame and the slide, and is polished on the flats, which give it a really nice look. And especially with the two-tone, I think that this gun is absolutely beautiful with the stainless steel slide and the stainless steel frame and the hot salt blued slide. As you can see, it does have front slide serrations, just like the TRP does. making it very easy to manipulate the slide from the front or the rear. Also, being that it's in 9mm, your recoil spring is not quite as stiff as it is in a 45. So those slide manipulations are that much easier. It does have an extended safety, although being on one side, it does have a very nice positive click into safe or fire. It's got the extended beaver tail, it's got the memory bump, the skeletonized hammer, skeletonized trigger, and the trigger on this thing, oh my god, it is incredible. But that's how 1911s should be with that single action trigger. It also has the stainless steel match grade barrel, although this one chambered in 9mm rather than 45, and you can see the difference there. It does break down like a traditional GI 1911, so it does not have the full-length guide rod. It just has the plug that comes out and the barrel bushing standard GI 1911 fare. The sights on this, while not tritium night sights, are a 3-dot setup, but the front one is a fiber optic, which makes it very easy to pick up, especially in daylight like where we were out at the range earlier today. Also, it is a tactical rack rear sight, meaning that you can rack it on just about anything if you have to manipulate it with just one hand. Besides all that, it is an absolutely gorgeous gun, and that was one of the main reasons I got it. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of both of these 1911s. The TRP is a fantastic 45, and the Ronin is really enjoyable to shoot as a 9mm. And I'm not sorry whatsoever that I ended up getting a 9mm 1911. This thing is just so soft shooting, so quick and so easy to get back on target. It really is nice. And I've found myself falling more and more into the 9mm camp these days. I just built an AR-15 in 9mm. I just sold my 45 caliber 1911 and bought a 9mm one. I'm liking the 9mm cartridge more and more these days. For one thing, it's cheaper to shoot at the range. It is very effective. Although many years ago, you needed a 45 cal for stopping power compared to the 9mm. With advancements in cartridge technology, 9mm, especially a good hollow point defensive round, is very effective. And I like that you get the extra capacity with it as well. So tell me what you guys think. Do you believe that it's a sacrilege to have a 1911 in 9mm? Do you think 45 is the only way to go when it comes to this classic design from John Moses Browning? Or have you got on the 9mm train as well? Because at this point, I have, and I'm very happy with it. It is really nice to shoot and just have less recoil and more rounds on tap. Hate to say it. Anyway, please subscribe to the channel. Check out my Amazon affiliate links down below. I will link to some 1911 accessories. But anything you buy, if you click on my link, fits within 24 hours of clicking on the link, gives the channel a kickback. Doesn't cost you anything extra if it was stuff you were going to get anyway. I also have a link to my Patreon down below. If you want to join that, that is the best way to support the channel, and it is greatly appreciated. Please subscribe, like, share, leave me a comment about your thoughts on the 1911, whether in 45 or 9mm is the way to go, which one you personally like better or have more experience with. I'd love to hear it. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.